Welcome to this vocabulary walkthrough where we will be going through the words for the third lesson. Today's topic is very important to Chinese people and it's also a very common topic of conversation. So I'm confident that you'll get to use it a lot, and I'm talking about family. We'll be looking at 24 new words in total with a pretty even distribution between 1 and 2 character words. Apart from the names of different family members, we'll also be learning how to create plural. So basically just how to say many of something. We'll learn how to indicate possession, and we will introduce the very important concept of measure words. But more on that as we get there. So let's get going with the first word. So the very first character, ta, meaning he. The first tone. So perhaps you recognize the part to the left from the very first video. It's the radical version of ren, which meant person, or it can also mean man, which is the case here. So ta, the male pronoun, meaning he, first tone, ta. With exactly the same pronunciation is the female pronoun, ta as well, first tone. Here we see basically the same character, but the man has been replaced by what? Do you remember? It's from the very first video. Great job if you remember. It's woman, 女. So the female pronoun, ta, with the woman to the left. And yes, the non-gender pronoun is also pronounced ta, first tone. So to keep these three separated when someone is talking, we really need to know the context in order to know which ta he or she is referring to. Mun, mun. And this is the fifth, what we call the neutral tone, which basically has no emphasis on it. So mun, it can't be said on its own. It has to be combined with other words. And it indicates plural when you attach it to a pronoun. So for example, you can say 我们, which would mean I plural, which then is of course we. D also has this fifth neutral tone, which really has no emphasis on it. And this is a really handy character, actually the most frequently used character in the entire Chinese language. And you'll simply just put it after a noun to indicate possession. So for example, 我的 means I possession or my. So 的 means possession. And here are some hopefully really simple characters for you. First off, yi, the first tone, the number 1. And it's very easy to remember. It's just one horizontal line meaning 1, the number 1. Yi. So if you had one horizontal line meaning 1, then 2 horizontal lines, yes, it means 2. R, the fourth tone. And note that the upper stroke here is shorter than the lower. But this sound, it can be a bit more difficult. R. To remember it, I just try to imagine like a pirate that says R. And then you just add the fourth tone, which has a bit negative sound to it. So you go R, R. And if you had 2 horizontal lines, meaning 2R, then 3 horizontal lines, yes, it will mean 3. And here you have the middle stroke being the shortest, the bottom stroke being the longest, and in terms of length, we have the upper one in between. So san, first tone. San is the number 3. And here is what I talked about in the beginning, the so-called measure word. And I'm going to talk about this for a little while. It's pronounced g, or can also be in the fifth neutral tone, just g, g. And this is the most common so-called measure word. And measure word are used as soon as you count a noun, basically. So these exist in English too, but not at all as much. For example, if you say a glass of water, then glass is the measure word. Same with a bucket of sand, for example. The difference is in English, you don't always use measure words. In fact, most of the time you don't use measure words. For example, there's no measure word for car. You just say a car. In Chinese, however, you always need a measure word. And there are a lot of measure words, but we're only going to learn a few. But the great thing is that you can always use this ge no matter what noun it is. So perhaps there is a better, more fitting measure word, but at least Chinese people will understand you. They will just know that you're not a native speaker, but I think that's probably fine right now. But we'll see in some sentences below how it is actually used. So ge, fourth or fifth tone, the most common measure word. 朋友, 朋友, second tone followed by third tone. I've heard many beginners say this second character as your, but that's incorrect. Instead, just say it just like you would in English. So perhaps you would like greet your friend with yo, how you doing? Then just apply the third tone so that you get yo instead of yo. Now, if you say that to your friend, we have a great way of remembering both what it means and how to pronounce it correctly. So 朋友, friend. And the last character of this part, 家, meaning family or home. And it actually depicts a pig under a roof. So the top part of this character is a roof, and under it you see a pig. And it used to mean simply that the place where you have your pigs is also your home, and there is your family. So it can mean both family and home. 家, first tone. 家. So see you in the second video where we'll also go through the sentences that these characters make up.